Hello and welcome to Art with Mrs. Torres. I hope you're feeling lucky because today we're going to be making a St. Patrick's Day gnome. You only need simple supplies, things you already have in your house. I can't wait to teach you. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, welcome back. Let's get ready to make our leprechaun gnome. So cute, right? So he is poking his head out from the corner and he's holding a lucky four-leaf clover, or you can call it a shamrock. For today's lesson, you're going to need a piece of paper. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need an eraser, a Sharpie marker, and some crayons and some markers. Now, if you don't have crayons and markers, you can just use one or the other. But if you have both, bring them both. We are going to be needing a skin color for his nose. So you might have a skin color marker in your set, but if you don't, look in your crayon box and see if you have a skin color for your nose of your gnome. And you can make it any color skin color that you'd like. All right, let's begin. So I'm going to move all my supplies off to the side. The only thing we need right now is a pencil and an eraser and our piece of paper. So gather up your items and then make sure you're ready when I'm ready. Okay, let's begin. The first thing we're going to do is find the center of our paper by putting our finger right in the center. So I'm going to take my pencil and find the center of my paper and make a dot. I'm going to take where my dot is, and I'm going to draw a curvy line to the edge of the paper. This is going to be a part of his hat. After I've drawn the curvy line, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to draw a swooping line that comes down toward the bottom of the paper. This is going to be his beard. So all of this area here is going to be our gnome. Now he needs a big nose. So we're going to draw a large circle right here. I really want you to make it big as maybe all four of your fingers. So give him a nice big giant nose. And it should touch his hat right here. This is going to be the bottom of his hat. Now don't worry if your circle isn't perfect. It doesn't matter. Don't worry if you made his nose too big. He'll look super cute. Now, once you've drawn the nose, then we're going to go right here to the bottom. We're going to draw his hand coming up from the bottom. So I'm going to start by just making a rainbow shape like this. Now that's going to be kind of his mitten part of his hand. And then I'm going to draw a thumb right here that comes right off the side. Now you can make his hand larger than I made my hand, or you can make it smaller. It doesn't matter. I'm going to erase his beard out of the middle of his hand. And now we're going to go up and draw his hat. So looking at the top of my paper, I want to make a rainbow from this side up and over and all the way over to the edge of the paper over here. So I'm going to go from here. I'm going to go up, all the way almost to the top, and then way over and off the side of the paper. Once I do that, I'm going to bring this side up to here and then bring it back out. So I'm going to go from here. I'm going to go out a little bit and up, loop it around and bring it back. Now, at this point, we want these to connect. So it's up to you how you want to figure that out. You can make a little point on the end. You can make a sharp point. You can make it rounded. I'm going to let you decide how you want to make your hat bend. So once you've done that, we're going to take now and draw in his hand a four-leaf clover. So I'm going to go from his little part right here, which is this thumb and his finger, and I'm going to draw a stem. So I'm going to draw a line that comes up, and I'm going to draw another line next to it. And then I'm going to draw a circle like a lollipop on the end. This circle is going to turn into a four-leaf clover later. So I'm just drawing a big circle And I'm going to now draw an X right through the middle. So if you need to make a dot in the middle to help you make your X, sometimes I make a dot right there, and then I draw one line that goes right through the dot, and another line that goes right through the dot. And then now's my trick. I'm going to take this part right here and I'm going to form a heart because this is the bottom of the heart. Now all I have to do is make one bump, two bumps, and you see I just drew the first petal of my shamrock. And I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to take this section, I'm going to make this part a heart. Also one bump, connect, another bump, connect, and now I drew the other leaf of the 4-leaf clover. I'm going to rotate my paper. I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, and one more time. 1, 2. I'm going to erase my circle out of the middle of the shamrock because I don't need that anymore. And then I'm going to draw 2 little lines coming from the center of each shamrock. When I'm all finished, I'm going to start now and get my Sharpie marker, and I'm going to trace over all of my pencil lines with my Sharpie marker. So I'm going to start where I began, which was my line of my hat. So I'm going to trace over my line of my hat. Then I'm going to trace the side of my hat. So I'm going to start up here at the tip. I'm going to trace the point of my hat and the curve of my hat. Now, if you want to make your hat look like it's bending, you can put a little curve right here, a little wrinkle. So sometimes when I'm tracing, I like to go over my lines and make them a little thicker. So if you would like to go back and make your lines a little thicker, you can do that too. I just take my marker and I just go over each one of my lines one more time just to make it look a little darker black. So that's how I did my picture here, but you don't have to do that. You can just leave it the way you drew it the first time. So once I've traced my hat, now I'm going to trace the side of my beard right here. This is going to be his red and orange beard. Then I'm going to trace my hand. There's my thumb and the little mitten for my little gnome. I'm going to make his thumb a little darker. And then I'm going to trace my shamrock. We don't need to trace that circle that we started with because we turned it into a shamrock. Now, each time I trace my lines, my picture starts to look a little bit more finished. If I would have just left my pencil, it wouldn't look as bright. We want all of our colors to be very bright. Now it's time for me to trace the nose of my gnome. So I'm going to go around my big circle for my nose. And it's okay if it doesn't look like a perfectly round circle. And now I'm going to go over this line and make it a little darker. So this line here is his hat. This is the little brim of his hat that's kind of going over his face. Now, to make our beard look a little bit more fuzzy, we're going to draw a few lines with our marker that are coming down like this. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make 2 lines going this way. I'm going to make 2 lines going this way. Kind of almost looks like I'm making kitty cat whiskers. And then I'm going to bring a few, not too many, just a few lines coming down like this. And then at the bottom, I want the beard to look a little scruffy. So I'm going to kind of make some zigzags right at the bottom of my paper. All right, time to design my patterns. So in my picture, I'm going to be making giant polka dots. You can do whatever you would like to do. So when I'm making my polka dots, I'm just going to make a big circle with my marker. And then I'm going to make them different sizes. So I might make a few small ones and then some half of a circle. And I like to kind of mix it up and do a couple different sizes. When I'm all finished, then I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to erase my pencil lines. So I'm going to hold my hand like a duck. My eraser only goes in the duck's mouth. This would be my duck saying quack, quack, quack. I'm only erasing inside the duck's mouth. And this way, my paper doesn't wrinkle. So I want you to go in and erase your pencil lines and then meet me back here and we will start doing our coloring. Welcome back. Let's get ready to do our coloring. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use a green crayon and color the entire hat very softly. Now I don't want to color very hard. I'm just going to do it very lightly. As I'm coloring, I'm not coloring very hard. I'm just putting a light color of green over my whole hat. Do you notice when I'm coloring, I'm trying to keep my hand going the same direction. And I'm not doing it very hard, just nice and soft, just to kind of fill that hat in with one color. Now, once I have my base coat down, now I can go in with my marker and I can color all different colors for my polka dots. Now, I'm going to be keeping my polka dots green for St. Patrick's Day, but you could make your polka dots different colors. Now I'm going to experiment trying a different shade of green. I can even go in with my crayon and color some with crayons, and it makes a different color. This is the same crayon I used earlier. Now I'm using it for my polka dots. When you're finished with your hat, then now you can decide what color you want to make your skin tone. So you can look at your skin and try to match the color on your gnome's face. You can use a marker. You can use a flesh colored crayon if you have one. So I have a skin tone crayon. This is a little light, but it's the color I have right now. So I can use my crayon. And if you don't have a skin tone, you can give them a pink nose, or even a red nose. Or you can use a marker, and that works too. So here's my marker. And next, we're going to figure out how to make a beautiful beard. So when you're thinking about a leprechaun, I always picture leprechauns with kind of an orangey red beard. So I'm going to be using a couple different markers to make that color. I'm going to start with my yellow. So you'd think we'd be using orange first, but I'm actually going to start with yellow. And I'm going to color all of my beard yellow first. So I'm just going to go right here, right next to the hat and right next to my nose, kind of outline it. And then I'm going to fill this whole space in with my yellow marker. And my next color I'm going to go in with is orange. Got my orange marker, and now I'm going to go and trace the sides and trace around the nose. I kind of like to always outline it just a little bit. And now from this spot, I'm going to start to pull my orange down. You want to keep coloring down because your hair grows down. As I do this, you can see the yellow kind of peeking through the back of the orange. It looks really pretty, doesn't it? Now, if you want to make it even more bright, you can go in with a red marker and pop in a few lines of red too. If you have any space underneath his beard, you can color it green, like he's wearing a green shirt. Now, my first picture, I didn't have any spaces underneath, but this one I do. So I'm going to fill that in with a little green, like he's got a green shirt on. Speaking of green, we have to make our shamrock green and we need to make our mitten green. So you might want to decide whether you want to do your shamrock a different shade of green than your mitten, or they can be the same. You can use crayons or you can use your markers for coloring them. So I'm going to use my bright green. And I'm going to outline the edges first. I kind of hold my marker on its side a little bit when I do it. I think I can color a little faster that way. When you're all finished coloring in your shamrock, then you're going to figure out a color for your mitten. So his little hand is holding the shamrock. So you probably will want to make it a different color green. So I'm going to use my light green for that, I think. I'm going to outline it first. And I'm going to pull my marker in one direction. And your mitten doesn't have to be one color by itself. You could make a pattern on it if you would like to. So you could go in and make polka dots on your mitten. And then my final part of my picture is to make a fun rainbow polka dot sky. So I'm going to start with the first color of the rainbow, which is red. So what I'm going to do is take my marker and make some polka dots in red in the sky. I just kind of move my marker in a little circle. Now, if you want to make tiny polka dots, you can just set your marker down and pick it up and you can have little tiny dots. And then I'm going to put my red away and I'm going to take my next color of the rainbow, which is orange. So now I'm going to go in with my orange marker and start to fill in with orange. The next color in the rainbow is yellow. After yellow, the next color in the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, is green. When I'm finished with green, I'm going to put it next to my yellow, making my little rainbow set here. My next color is going to be blue. When I'm done with blue, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, my final color is purple. I hope you had fun today creating our St. Patrick's Day lucky leprechaun gnome. I think they turned out so fun. I would love to see your picture. Could you ask your parents to take a picture of your drawing and send it to me at rtorres@lcusd.net? You can email me a picture and then I promise to write back to you. I hope you had fun today. I'll see you for our next lesson. Bye-bye.